Coming up tonight on NewsWatch 12 at 6, drones are a new piece of technology that some say are the future. How a Senate bill could also make it the future in our local police departments. That's coming up next on NewsWatch 12 at 6.
Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6.
We begin on a crime alert tonight, a disturbing case out of Ashland. A man was arrested for holding another man captive for 2 days. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Haley Gravitt. Today, he was indicted on several charges. James Herget is facing kidnapping, menacing, domestic violence, sex abuse, and other charges related to this kidnapping. Ashland PD says that he was menacing the victim with firearms and assaulting him for 48 hours. His indictment had another incident on it on April 12th after police tried to arrest him for a vandalism charge, assaulting several people while trying to escape from police custody. Ashland PD was finally able to arrest him after using a taser to get him to surrender. He's in custody on a $750,000 bail tonight. And a Romanian national is going to federal prison after stealing more than $176,000 through skimming devices in Maine and Oregon, including right here in Medford. Florin Ionita was sentenced to 54 months in federal prison after being indicted by a grand jury in Medford and the District of Maine. Medford police first received a report on a masked person installing a skimming device on an ATM machine in August of 2023. Investigators distributed a law enforcement bulletin to find the man after receiving photos of him. Investigators in Maine were able to identify him, leading to his arrest. And a bill in the legislature would increase the ability for police to use drones, coming with widespread support, but also some are opposing it. NewsWatch 12's Rocky Walker has the details.
Use of drones gives you a bird's eye view of a situation. That's what you're looking through right now. But with a new bill, it'll have expanded use in policing. Drones are seen as a technological marvel, currently used in policing to locate missing people, respond to active crime scenes, and search when a warrant is present. But SB 238 would change that.
This bill is essentially a 180. It takes away that warrant requirement.
The bill would allow for the use of drones in policing in multiple new ways. Most notably in the response to any emergency call, meaning any 911 call can now constitute the use of a drone, as well as in response to what officers deem to be an emergency for public safety of people and property. This is hailed as a great tool for officers in battling crime. But opposers to the bill say it could easily invade privacy and even intimidate those who are being surveyed.
We have really serious concerns about how privacy rights will be impacted.
In the context of Medford, the issue brings privacy to the forefront. With just months ago, the ACLU suing the police department for allegedly spying on local activist groups.
Once you give this legislative blank check to law enforcement, they are going to be able to do it much more easily. Again, you can't stop it before it happens. And so we do think situations like Medford are much more likely to occur.
But Medford Police Department says that constitutional rights and privacy will still be on the forefront, saying this will just be a tool used to keep the community safer.
I don't want law enforcement to be able to go over my house and see what I'm doing, so I understand that concern. It's a great life-saving tool, and it'd be great to be able to deploy and help our citizens, and then also provide extra safety for our responding officers.
As for drone usage policy in Medford, MPD says it would still have to follow Oregon standards. And there's even talks of policy discussions for the department itself if the bill passes.
You weigh the totality of the circumstances and the crime itself and what's happening. Is this going to make officers safer?
In Medford, I'm Rocky Walker.
Now we want to get a look at your forecast, but Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman is out tonight, so we're going to toss it over to Storm Tracker meteorologist Holden LaCroix for a first look at our forecast. Holden.
Well, happy Thursday. It was a gorgeous day across the Pacific Northwest. I'm meteorologist Holden LaCroix. Here's a look at overnight temperatures tonight, where we're going to be cooling down after a gorgeous day across both Oregon and Northern California. Here's a look at some of the temperatures tonight, back down to around 40 degrees across Eugene, 40 degrees also for the Medford area, and Mount Shasta also sitting at about 34 degrees. Out on the east side, it's going to be a chilly night tonight, 28 out towards Lakeview, so below freezing, and the marine layer is going to come back out toward the Oregon coast. For the Willamette Valley, 40 degrees tomorrow morning. We are going to be warming up to about 75 by 4 o'clock. 7 p.m. around 65 degrees, so definitely a little bit cooler into the course of the afternoon. Across the Klamath Basin, freezing Friday morning, but once we head into the afternoon as the winds start kicking up, only around 11 miles per hour, 65 degrees. Across areas of the Rogue Valley, warming up to around 78 toward the afternoon, 70 degrees toward around 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And across Northern California, 32 degrees tomorrow morning, a cold start, 65 toward the afternoon. Your full forecast is coming up.
And we are continuing to follow a 2-acre fire prompting a level 2 evacuation warning in Klamath County this afternoon. The Meadow Fire was first reported just after 2:30 and was reported 100% contained around 4:30 this evening. The evacuation warning has also been returned to a normal status, but this is just one example of how quickly fires and evacuations can change as we do inch closer to fire season. And Recology Ashland is holding a few events with the city to help you be fire ready. If you take a look at your screens here, you can see some of those FireWise events. The first event will allow residents to get rid of hazardous materials around their home. On May 3rd, Green Debris Day is a free event for Jackson County residents from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Spring Cleanup Day gives residents the chance to not only be FireWise, but to clean out any unwanted items that you could donate. Goodwill will be at this event to pick up your donations. ID is required for all of these events.
6 engines with 11 personnel were sent from the Southwest District through this mutual assistance agreement. Oregon has an agreement with multiple states, but the relationship between Oregon and North Carolina is very beneficial because North Carolina's fire season is in the spring and the fall, whereas Oregon's is in the summer.
The states being able to help each other out outside of our own fire seasons is really great. It's happening more frequently, and we start reaching out to other states that aren't having a fire season and seeing if they can come help us and vice versa.
Duda said he's learned how North Carolina utilizes leaf blowers to blow thick layers of leaves into the wildfire to help create a line. But a challenge was the lack of access to areas where debris from Hurricane Helene hadn't been cleaned up yet. The wildfires Duda fought in North Carolina were in areas with lots of homes. Seeing people return home and being there is extremely impactful for our firefighters.
Relationship that you leave in a community is probably just as valuable putting that fire out. Those stay, things grow back, things rebuild.
From Medford.
But the relationships you build with that community and those partners are
I'm Brinkley Hill.
Really what a lot of our firefighters bring home.
And the city of Grants Pass will have 2 new resting sites for its unhoused population. The city opening the sites to lift an injunction stopping them from enforcing camping rules. But some residents are not happy. NewsWatch 12's Leave column breaks it down for us.
Grants Pass councilors voting 6-2 Wednesday night to approve 2 new resting sites. The new sites are at 711 and 714 Northwest 6th Street, bordering one of the existing sites.
It'll have the least amount of negative impact is to keep where we can have more of the sites here where we already have 2 sites, we already have negative impacts in the neighborhood.
Right now, the city has a preliminary injunction from a Josephine County judge stopping them from enforcing public camping rules. To change that, Grants Pass needs at least 150 spaces for people to camp and needs to make them ADA accessible. But the idea of new sites is already sparking controversy.
Not only do I live in this property, I also work at my property. Now I have 150 proposed unstable people that are going to be feet from my bedroom.
The approval brings the total number of resting sites in the city to 4, with about 173 spaces for unhoused residents. Once the new sites are up and running, city lawyers will ask the judge to lift the injunction. In Grants Pass, I'm Leave Column.
And on to an update tonight. Nearly 5 months after this sprinkler system malfunction closed down both Local 31 Pub and Taj Indian Cuisine, the two are set to reopen soon. Local 31 Pub says that they're having a grand opening this Saturday afternoon with new menu items and some live music. The owner says the process has not been easy, but the pub is back and better than ever. Now, upstairs from Local 31 Pub, Taj hasn't announced their official reopening date yet, but they do say that they are almost ready and cannot wait to welcome back the community. A closer look at the flooding that shut down the two businesses in November can be found on our website, kdrv.com. Enjoy Community is making progress on their tiny and micro home project. The organization says they need 3 more buildings to complete phase 1. The project was expected to be completed in November, but was stalled by bad weather. Right now, crews are finishing sewer lines and expected to add homes in a few weeks. Once completed, the first 10 seniors will move into the housing, which will get them back on their feet. Joy Community says the goal is to eventually expand to at least 50 homes. And happening now, the city of Medford is hosting an open house on the latest progress on the Medford Downtown 2040 plan. They're looking for feedback from residents to identify what proposed areas should or should not be included within this plan. The open house will take place at the Medford Library in the Adam Room, and it'll run until 8 p.m. this evening. Looking ahead, Medford residents are invited to attend 2 upcoming City Council town halls. These events are opportunities for community members to hear from city councilors, mayor, and the city staff. Residents are invited to ask questions about the city's emergency response efforts and their planning strategies. The first town hall will be Wednesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. This will be hosted by Ward 1 and 3 councilors and the mayor in the Medford Police Headquarters. The second town hall will be Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. in the Smolin Health Education Center at Asante. That town hall will be hosted by Ward 2 and 4 for the councilors and the mayor of the wards.